What's up, everyone? The beers have been slid and a new HOH has been crowned. Week 3 begins the start of Tyler's reign as HOH. Welcome to your live feed update. Shortly after the feeds returned, we saw a conversation between Kevin and Janelle, with Kevin encouraging Janelle to start a fight with Nicole Franzel in order to put the bigger target on Janelle's back. Yes, I know it sounds crazy, but the thought of this process was the fact that if Janelle has an even bigger target on her back than she already does, people will want to keep her around because then they are not the biggest target. So that was sort of like a last-ditch effort, I'm guessing, something that we could see as the week goes on. There's potentially been a fight that has happened when the feeds have gone down. CBS apparently took the feeds down whilst this happened, so we'll get to that later. But I don't know if that's stoked from that conversation, but it seems as though Kevin is continuing to stir the pot, and also Janelle's basically just thinking, okay, what the hell can I do to stay in this house? There's not much, but I need to do everything I can in order to make sure I can maintain my place in this house and be here next week. Despite Ian and Janelle not being on the same side of things for the past few weeks, that sort of conversation concluded in Janelle saying, to Kevin, whoever goes between me and Kesa, obviously we know nothing solid there yet, but it's likely. She's saying if one of them goes, Kevin needs to align with the other one, or like he's going to just be totally by himself in this house and stranded. He needs to basically latch onto that other person, and it seems as though Kevin is pretty much the person who, if Janelle or Kesa were to come down off the block, Kevin would be put up as the pawn because he's totally expendable to nearly every single person in the house. So I guess you got to work together rather than have no allies. So I guess that conversation makes sense. I pretty much say it's a lost cause now for Kevin to win the game. I know it's bold to put it out there, but I just feel like his game just is nowhere near as strong as some other people. And I know that it's early in the game, but a game is sort of, his style doesn't tend to win, and as a result, I don't think there's much you can do to really catch up onto someone else's game that is a lot stronger. Ian has spoken to Cody, Danny and Nicole. We don't have to say Franz anymore because Nicole Anthony is evicted, so it's Nicole, that they have created an alliance called the Four Prime. So this is a new alliance that's going on in the house, definitely a strong alliance, with some strong players who are in fantastic social positions currently in the house. So I think that's an alliance that could go far. There seems to be a million alliances getting created on that side of the house though, and it's going to catch them up sooner rather than later, and it's very exciting to see what could happen because the cracks and fractures are definitely starting to show. And once, I guess, Janelle and Kesa are out the scenario, it's really sort of going to be dog eat dog, and they'll start to cannibalize one another, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see where it goes and who they take out first. I feel like they're going to go for Memphis since he's the weak link now in the pack, but after that, I guess it's anyone's game, and it's going to be great to see the fireworks and the new relationships that are formed when people begin to turn on each other. Kevin and Janelle were chatting, with Janelle telling Kevin that Nicole Franzel, the biggest wimp in the house, was talking crap about her. Yes, I'm paraphrasing because I believe it's something along the lines of what they said there, but Janelle said that basically she would destroy Nicole if it came up to a head-to-head, and it's the fire that's waiting to just be stoked. It's been stoked all week, and it's just sort of waiting to engulf someone, and they're going at each other one-to-one, and the war is about to begin. It really is. This is going to be the week where it's like it's do or die. Janelle's really got to try and win that veto if she wants to stay. Same goes for Kesa. It comes down to the fact if both of them are on the block at the end of the week, I'd say Janelle is heading home. So Janelle's really got to win that veto if she wants a chance to stay, and also go after Nicole Franzel. It seems as though, guys, the feeds apparently went down at one point, and I did not see this, but I read up on it online, and reportedly what happened was there was a fight between Janelle and Nicole Franzel, and it was sort of hidden over that we couldn't really see because Nicole Franzel mentioned something like she was called the B word, and nobody had seen anything to do with that. That's what she said, the B word, like that. Again, that's phrasing, but again, it's just super exciting to think what the hell could have happened. I hope we get to find out in the episode, or at least people will chat about it over the next few days and we can find out what really happened. But it seems as though there's definitely been some sort of conflict between Janelle and Nicole Franzel that's finally read. It's such a shame we didn't really get to see it, but at least we get to hear of it and hopefully find out more details over the next few days. Tyler has confirmed to Kevin that he does not want him going home this week. He did discuss later, not with Kevin, that he would probably put Kevin up as the replacement nom if Janelle or Kesa were to come down. He is hell-bent on putting Janelle and Kesa on the block, as are the majority of that side of the house. They just want both of them up, ensuring that one of them goes home this week. They also did briefly discuss the vote, as Enzo threw that sort of rogue vote in the live vote, and as a result they're trying to figure out who it was. Kevin told Tyler that he was one, and both of them were saying that they think the other person could either be Janelle, Kesa, or Davon. They couldn't figure it out, so Enzo is as good as gold. He has totally covered that up. Nobody's probably going to find out about that, and to be honest, I think Enzo is looking like a real dark horse at the moment. I think he could potentially come through and win the whole thing. I know it's very early to say that, but he seems to be in a great position. Nobody's really trying to get him out, and the Meow Meow is here to play, and I just think he could do very, very well. Again, a sign of that side of the house fracturing was Danny telling Nicole earlier that Tyler needs to go soon. So even though he's HOH, Danny's already planning on getting Tyler out, basically saying that he is such a good player that if he gets to the end, he's going to win. So they need to make sure that they take care of that problem before it's too late, saying that Memphis would be the first person to go within that alliance, and then they can take the shot at Tyler if they have it, and it's a clear shot, and they know they can definitely take him out for sure, because it's often the case in the Big Brother house where if there's a big threat and you miss that shot, then you're going to end up in a world of basically, and it's very, very hard to get out of it. You've got to make sure that when you take the shot, it's a clean shot, and there's no mess. You just sort of, it's done, dusted, they're out the house, gone. That's what you got to make sure happens. So Danny's definitely plotting that, and I think that could be something we see after Tyler's HOH reign is down. I think that side of the house is going to start to go, okay, we've took Janelle or Kesa out, now we need to start focusing on who's the bigger threats on our side of the house, and they'll begin to sort of plot against how the hell they could get rid of Tyler. Nicole has told Tyler that she hopes that they can get Janelle out this week, as she believes there could be some form of America's vote next week. So she is hella paranoid at the fact that she could lose out on getting that vote, or someone else will get that vote because Janelle will be in the house, because I think it's very fair to say that if Janelle will be there next week and there is a vote, Janelle will hands down get the power or some sort of twist to her advantage. If she's gone, Kesa will get it. I think it's as simple as that. It seems as though in most polls online, Janelle is number one and Kesa is number two, then the rest are quite far behind. I think Ian's usually about third in the favourites, but it's a mile behind Janelle and Kesa, so I think it's fair to say whoever is in the house next week, if there is a vote, one of them two is going to win out of Janelle and Kesa. But Nicole wants to make sure that Janelle can't win that, and she hopes that she doesn't win the veto. Basically, Nicole just really, really wants Janelle out this week. Her and Tyler had a brief discussion as well, with Tyler saying that Enzo probably wouldn't be a bad idea to save in the safety suite competition, as it doesn't really affect the game. Nobody's really going to target Enzo, and it sort of doesn't expose their alliance, because Enzo is like tight with all those guys on that side of the house, but he's not really in, I think, any sort of alliances. I believe he was in the Slick Six. I could be totally wrong there, but off the top of my head I think he was. But there's many, many alliances on that side of the house, and he's not in them all, so I feel like saving Enzo would be a sort of fair move that wouldn't really expose them massively, but also it wouldn't damage their game or benefit their game massively. It just covers it up fine, and I think it's a good plan. Christmas and Tyler continue to reiterate they've got to get Janelle and Kesa out. It just seems everyone is basically on search and destroy mode. Let's take Janelle and Kesa out, and they also solidified their final two once again, calling themselves the Carolinas, and that was pretty much all that came from them there. Just continuous conversation about we need to get Janelle and Kesa out of the house. Tyler and Danny, obviously still hell-bent on trying to get Janelle and Kesa out, are thinking further down the line into the game, saying who is trying to target us essentially, and basically thinking after Janelle and Kesa are gone, which business do we take care of? And Davon's name was brought up a lot. Davon has definitely lost a lot of trust from other people over the past week or so. She was in a fantastic position after the first week, and it seems she's burned many bridges over this second week, with losing distrust from Cody's side of the house, with Cody saying he is done with Davon, and also on Janelle and Kase's side of the house, they said before the vote that if Davon was to save David, then they would cut the trust lines there, and there wouldn't be any info going her way. So Davon's essentially shut herself all off from all angles. It's a shame, but she's butchered her own game. However, this is Big Brother, you know, things can be pulled around, and she might be able to build it up over the next few days. As long as she's not in trouble or not being targeted, which it doesn't look like for this week, she can probably build something back up, but she needs to definitely do some damage control on her own game. That is all of your game talk today, folks. It was a brief one, as obviously it was only a night of game talk after the HOH win, but it's a very intriguing week that's coming, and it's going to be a miracle if Janelle and Kesa manage to both survive this week. Who knows if production are going to throw in a little twist here and there to potentially save them both. We just don't know, but we will have to see. Guys, let me know in the comments anything that you have opinions on for Big Brother, you know, about the HOH, about the nominees, anything about the game. Just drop it in the comments and have a good old conversation with a fellow Big Brother fan, and I might just jump in on the conversation as well. But besides from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. You are all legends. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Do all of that stuff, and until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.